This is the Book Legion Podcast, where we review thought-provoking books to give our Legionnaires the knowledge they need to dominate the next level of their life.
Hey, welcome back to the Book Legion. This is your host, Kevin Diaz, and we've got a really special one for you today. I really enjoyed diving into this book, as I've heard really a lot of great things about the author over the years, and it just felt like one of those moments where you finally are done reading everything else that you're reading. I get in the habit of reading 4 to 5 books at the same time. It's really frustrating. It just feels like those moments where you're done with everything else. You can finally put all your attention on one book, and you've been really looking forward to it, right? And so that's exactly how this felt like. And, you know, about the author, he's really a very unique character. He's the one and only Jay Shetty. And he has, to be honest, quite the story that he highlights in the beginning of his book. You know, he's an English-born former monk and award-winning digital strategist turned storyteller and viral content creator. His videos have quite the reach. I mean, since launching his video channel in 2016, his videos have received over 4 billion views. You know, he's through his very entertaining and uplifting format. He's just a great person to listen to. He also has a health and wellness podcast as well called On Purpose with Jay Shetty. So check that out. It debuted at #1 on iTunes. And, you know, I really admire Jay for doing something that a lot of us would never really entertain doing. And that's walking away from a world that was set up for him to be very successful through his academic achievements growing up. And he walked away from that to really essentially and quite literally pursue a life of being a monk in India. And I'm talking meditating, you know, over 4 hours a day at a minimum, I believe is what it is. It's usually 6 to 8 hours a day, sleeping on the floor, having no material possessions. Nothing really is, you know, belongs to you once you join a monastery. So just the whole thing was very impressive. And after doing this for 3 years, Jay's desire to share his learnings with as many people as possible, he dove into those techniques that allow knowledge to spread through the digital content. That's kind of what he wanted to do. And of course, that's who he is today through his viral video channel. So in his book that I'll be covering today is really a testament to the love, you know, and knowledge that he's essentially given to the world. And it's truly a great mind-opening read that I think you'll enjoy. So talking about the book, that should probably be very important to start with the title. The book is simply called Think Like a Monk, and it's broken up into 3 parts. It's let go, grow, and serve. So 3 parts: 1, let go; 2, grow; and 3, serve. So I'll pick 1 point from each to talk about. But before that, I wanted to talk about what Jay calls the monkey mind, because I feel that applies to most people living in 2022, right? Jay tells us that the world is mostly full of people that are dissatisfied and preoccupied with chasing what they really or think they believe is actual happiness, right? And we see, you know, the media feeds us images and ideas of who we should be, instead of really encouraging you to look inward and find the true happiness. And think of the monkey mind just as what a real monkey does, right? The real monkeys, they swing from branch to branch. They're easily distracted. And, you know, when you're overwhelmed by the branches and leaves of the problems, rather than being focused on the root of the issue, it brings the question, how can we train our monkey mind to become the monk mind, as he calls it? A mind that, how Jay describes it, lives intentionally and in the moment, right? And number 1 is we can start by clarifying what our identity as an individual is. And unfortunately, the problem most people face is that we don't get to decide what our values are. You know, we're quick to accept and go along with what other people around us think is important. And just doing a simple sitting down, writing down, being clear on your values with yourself is really the most important thing that you can possibly do, because it allows you to build your foundation of who you are in a very simple way. You can do that by playing what Jay calls the media mind game. You basically first, you list your values, then you identify the origin of that value, and then you see whether it aligns with your true self, right? How much time are you spending on said value? Is that a good or a bad thing that you're spending that much time on that said value? And by clearing your identity, and having a better understanding of it, and you living in accordance with your values that you have put down for yourself, you're really able to guide yourself to a life where you have more control over, right? I think that's what we're all chasing. And the second point of the book I took away was that Jay really talked about just improving your daily habits, right? I know I talk a lot about on the podcast about daily habits as they compound, kind of like an investment account, right? And you're able to help your daily habits quicker by essentially using location and time, specifically by taking control over the beginning and the end of our days through routines. Okay, so by setting yourself up for success, the evening before, it's very important to have those mornings where you just know you're going to crush. And to me, there's no better way of ending your night. You write your thoughts down on your notepad, you set them aside, you write your day for the next day, you write your goals, and you just, going to bed, like, I've put that out into the universe. I've written it down. It's right next to me. It's going to be the first thing that I look at when I read. And that's just powerful when you wake up in the morning, even just like putting aside the clothes that you're going to wear the next day, so that there's one less decision to make when you wake up. I mean, you're able to allocate more times by doing this to things like exercise, meditation, or reading, and that by doing those little habits every single day, you're going to start seeing that compound, right? For me, it's getting up early and heading to the gym after my wife gets home from the gym. We have two little ones, right? So she gets up at 4:30, goes to the gym, then I go when she gets back, right? And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm some bodybuilder, but I've made working out a non-negotiable thing in my day. And I can tell you that I definitely feel out of sync when I'm not able to go, whether it's my fault or due to some extreme condition that I'm not able to go. You definitely feel out of sync once you establish those habits. Okay. And another key component about improving your habits that Jay talks about is to dedicate certain spaces to certain tasks. For example, I am not a fan of watching TV in your bedroom. The bedroom is for sleeping for me. It's not for electronics. And I can't imagine how many of us just mindlessly scroll through, in my opinion, the garbage that's out on social media right before you're going to bed. And just simply put, I mean, the last thing that you're putting into your brain before sleeping is meaningless junk. No, thank you. I'm not a fan of that. So I dedicate my bedroom to reading. It's time for relaxation, time for sleeping. And when you're able to be mindful of your location and the tasks that you do there, it can help you focus. Since the studies that Jay cited, multitasking is a myth. It feels good in the moment, but it eventually leads to burnout. And one thing I'm very grateful for is to have that self-awareness that really helps me back to the center line. If I drift too far off, I try to multitask. I can tell myself, stop, do one thing 100%, and then move on to the next, right? And on my third and final point of the book is that Jay calls on us to live essentially a life of servitude. And he mentions that the highest purpose in life is to live a life of service that he was able to experience during his time as a monk. We are truly born to care for others. And that's, in my opinion, biologically evidenced as how little kids instinctively do things to help others without asking. And we just seem to lose that for whatever reason when we get older. And, to be able to serve without wanting anything in return, I think that makes their happiness our happiness as well. And there's nothing more rewarding than that. And I feel that every day when I go to work in my sales job. I'm really grateful that I get to educate people on a solution that truly is a disruptor in the status quo model of the industry that I'm in. And one of the things I tell myself in the mornings is that I get to help people today know that there's a better way of doing things, which ultimately goes all the way down to affecting the lives of people living with hard conditions and children that I've never even met them, and I never will, but I'm able to affect them. And I take a lot of pride, and I'm very grateful to have that opportunity, which truly brings me happiness. And I know that aligns with my personal values. So I really hope that you enjoyed my breakdown of Jay Shetty's book, Think Like a Monk. I'll put a link to the book in the description. Christmas is right around the corner. It's not too late to buy a present for yourself or for a loved one. I think this is a book I would really, really recommend. Don't forget to like and subscribe And if you felt like you took something away today, please, share the episode with a friend and help us grow our reach. We would really, really appreciate that. So this is Kevin Diaz with the Book Legion. And until next time.